we are talking a lot about sustainability, we're talking about all these issues, and to make something of an existing architecture and not always try to make something new is very important in architecture and part of what we work today. And a lot of the work of architects today is working with the existing rather than just a blank slate and starting from scratch.
I think architects occupy a kind of interesting political space in that we are often the kind of handmaidens of the rich and powerful, and more often than not we're complicit in the messaging governments want to communicate to their constituents. I think I'd like to see that in particularly this sort of institutional work and category that architects are coming at it thoughtfully and to some degree subversively.
We want from our governments to show a commitment to the really serious issues. So I think I will be looking for something that's reassuringly well put together, maybe somewhat modest, that looks like it's under control. So grown-up, serious, responsible. And then I think it's about real democratic access. That is physical and spiritual or ideological. But at the same time, that doesn't mean it should feel down or a sort of dropped experience, because I think that can close off environments to a lot of people. So it's probably quite a sophisticated balance of that, where you feel reassured by your point of entry and not turned off by the weight of the, the seriousness.
I think in this category we should be looking for something that is as public as possible, that is as accessible as possible, and that it should give kind of self-worth, self-respect, and a sense of pride, not in a nationalistic way, obviously, but in like, I'm part of this. Sending a message to the public on the government actually reusing an existing building, transforming it and making more accessible for the public, and the reuse of materials inside. I think it's just like the right message to send. It's a very good example of governmental space that gives that sense of respect of the people working there and how they should behave towards the public, the people coming to them as representatives of the state.
The House of Representatives, beautifully executed as a piece of architecture. Thinking more about the interiors, it's very powerful, really. It seems very controlled, very well resolved in terms of detail. I just have to say I was sort of impressed by achieving that standard. It looked like it would also be reasonably robust. There's a sort of cultural momentum, it sounds like, from the former situation to this one and then the future one. And I think that's quite important. Adaptive reuse is good on all sorts of practical levels, but I think it's also about a kind of continuous psychological position or relationship to a place, which can quite easily all be interrupted. And I think that even goes right down to things like furniture and sort of iconic elements. And it's quite clever how they seem to have accommodated those pieces.
I think at a time when democracy is so troubled in so many societies, I think to offer a project that isn't cynical, that doesn't play to the times, that does offer a kind of foundation for a democracy going forward, albeit a temporary one, I think is beautifully done.